Good morning, afternoon and evening, my crazies. My name's Angela, I'm the Crazy Poppy Lady, and welcome back to another Whips, Bits and Chat. I think this one's 95, I'm not too sure, I've lost count a bit. But hey ho, let's go and see what I've got in store for you today. New titles there was. What do you think? Stick your comment in the comment section down below. Okay, so first up today, of course, we have our video roundup. So first video up, that very first one of the week, was a help. Choose intro music for this year, and as you heard, video track number 2 actually won, but don't panic. Track number 4 came in close second and will get used at another point in time. Next up, we had our stitch a week, which is stitch number 5, and now this one is the C2C standard stitch, and the image on the front, if I can find it, there it is, looks like this. Okay, so that is a stitch a week stitch, week 5. Then we had our February pattern grab, which was our very first live of this month, and then we had the February 1st lunchtime live the following day, and then of course we had our throwback Friday. So those videos will be up here in the I button, and if they're not up there, they'll be in the description box down below, but it will depend on what other things I talk about this week and what links need to go up there with urgency. Right, let's see what's up next. Right, so for those of you that like to be in the know, this month's winner only pattern is called A Bad Brother and is a 59 rows, and is part of the Marvellous set. There you go. So he would work really well alongside his little or big brother Iceberg. So for your chance to win a copy of that pattern, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section down below, and of course join in on the lives if you possibly can over this month, because you'll get a chance to win it there as well. Gripe time. I'm over on Ravelry at the moment. I thought I would check out what's new in C2C patterns and things like that, see if there's anything there that I like the look of. Yeah, I'm not going to make it, and I'm not going to try and sell a pattern that's not mine, but I wanted to see how much real competition there was, because of course all of my patterns I have to make. I'll explain the background later, but yeah, all of the patterns I have to make because that's what I've been told by them. Yeah, I've just come across a creator that's got about 30 or 40 different patterns out that are up for sale, that are chart only, no image, like no proper made item. It is just her chart superimposed onto a fake blanket. I want to be able to do that, but I was told no, and I'm thinking that's a bit bang out of order really, ain't it? But right, that's it, that's me for my ranting. Right, in regards to the background, yes, doesn't it look messy again? That's what the blankets were hiding. I will get it neat and tidy at some point. Now, what I need to explain is I was using that little blanket thing where I could just flick it round and knock my block off every time I showed you a different blanket, but I've noticed that having them hanging up 24/7 is actually causing them damage. It's making the gaps, as you can see here, the gaps between the stitches, it's tugging on them because of the weight of the blanket. So down the bottom it's nice and tight still and looks nice and neat, and up the top it's all baggy and saggy. bit like me undies. Shh. But yeah, so what I'm now going to do is I'm only going to have the newest blankets hanging up to show you, because the main ones are of course on the opening titles, or the older ones I should say, are on the opening titles. So if you like the look of any that are in the opening titles, either give me a nudge on a video saying, can I see this one more, or just check out the Ravelry shop. That's a bit cheeky of me, I know, but yeah, either check out the Ravelry shop or type in what it says on screen, whether it be penguin, this, that, the other. Normally I've put the names on the opening titles, I believe. I hope I have. If I haven't, I will amend it. Happy Chinese New Year, all my crazies! And for those of you that don't realise, this year is of course the year of the tiger, hence why Timothy was made. Right, so I printed out a pattern earlier on this week. It's a bit of a cheeky pattern. It isn't a proper pattern, and it's definitely not one that I'm going to be making. But it's what I've nicknamed my beautiful sample pattern. So this is a pattern that I'll happily show you guys, that explains what you would get if you did pop over to Ravelry and purchase the written pattern over just waiting for a tutorial, if you're lucky enough to get one. Now I say that because this little guy here, the tiger, is of course only ever going to be a Ravelry only pattern, because it is far too flipping big for the channel. It won't fit on my table. So because I can't fit it on the table, there is absolutely no way I could record it and then reel off a row by row. So the only other way around it would be to sit there and read the pattern aloud to you. Nah. So this is basically a rough idea of what you would get. You'd start off of course with an image of the finished item, if I'm lucky enough and I've actually done it. Then you've got a little bit of a write-up here that explains it's a C2C blanket and what is included within the pattern. Okay, but I'm actually going to show you what is included within the pattern. So this is page 1. Okay, then you would move on to page 2. Now page 2 has your graph. So this is here so that you can, as you're working along, you can mark off what side you've started from and you work off the squares as you go. And then of course we have the key underneath. This is so strange, I'm trying to do this by looking at the screen. My left and right are not working normally, let alone today, but I'll keep going, I'm gonna get it done. Right, so we've got, as I said, the sample pattern up the top there. Now that would show you every single box and the colourings that you would need to do for each box to make sure that your picture, your blanket looks the same as the picture when it's finished. And then you have this key section here which gives you the colour of the box that you're looking for if you're using the top half of this pattern. You then have the colour as it actually is, so they're the colours that you'd need to find the yarn for. And then next to it you have got a little set of coloured letters. So in the case of red it's R, orange was O. I did a really simple version on this one because it's only one colour of each. If there is, say, a light brown and a dark brown, it will say the code will possibly read LB DB. But I will try and separate it as best I can so they don't look too similar. Okay, and then of course our standard one that's always going to be the same as black, which is BLK. I like that one. That's my favourite. Right, okay, so that is the first page. Okay, then on to our second page here. Oh, is it going to pick up? Yeah, lovely. On to the second page here, of course. We start off on this side here. Now this side tells you what size hook I used and the yarns that I used to create the blanket that's on the first page. Then down this side here we have video links, so that will take you to different tutorials and method videos for the blanket that you've chosen to purchase or the item you've chosen to purchase. Okay, for C2Cs you also get, well, for all of them you get the extra bit about what extra bits you need, like your stitch markers, your scissors and all the extras. Then for the corner to corners you also get this subsection, this section here. Now this is what I lovingly nickname the math. Okay, so if you are joining in on stitch a week and you've made it to stitch week number 5, I think I might be giving something away here, but hopefully not. If you've made it to week number 5, then you will know that that is a standard corner to corner. Week number 4 is the corner to corner mini as I do it. Okay, if you make both of those squares before you start, weigh your yarn, make the blocks, because they're 10 by 10, which makes it 100 block. Oh, that gets confusing. Okay, and then reweigh your yarn. That way you'll know how many grams or whatever of yarn you've got, or that you've used, sorry, to make that 100 block. Once you know that, then this math will be a heck of a lot easier. But that helps you if you're changing up the weight. So say instead of using a 3 weight like I do, or a DK weight, you decide to use a 4 weight or an Aran. That way you will know how many balls you're going to need to go and purchase, so that your pattern's completed in one go and you don't have to wait for another delivery. Okay, and then down the bottom of that section there as well, you've also got an area where you can do the sums. Okay, so that's page 3. Okay, on to page 4. Page 4 is a stitch breakdown, so you can swap from the US terms that I've used and pop them into UK terms, or of course work out the alternative if your country if you don't use either of those. I hope you do. And then we have got information here on how the pattern is worked up, what block is starting from on that first page pattern. Okay, then we have the how to do it in words, and then how to do it in graph or in pictures. Yeah, that's the bit that confuses me, how to word the wording. Okay, then our next section up on the next page is your information on how to decrease. Okay, so sorry, I should explain that that page shows you how to do the block and also talks you through how to increase as well. Okay, so it's increase for the rows. And this one shows you how to do the decrease over here, as well as talk you through it. Okay, on to page number 6. What's this one? Now this is the start of the pattern. So when of course you've got your pattern, it will come and it will look something like this. It looks a bit of a garbled mess, doesn't it? But if you look at it there, and let's pick on row 12, it says B, so that's blue. Okay, and then it's BLK2, black, B3, BL2, B, BLK, and basically all that means is that between each of the colours there will be a number. If there is no number, it means you've only got the one block, but it's worked in blocks. Okay, so that way when you're looking at the pattern and you're working along, you're not counting whether you're doing 3 double crochets and then blah 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 blah. All you're doing is going, well, that's one block done, that's another one ticked off, there's another block done, that one's ticked off, oh, this said I need 5 of them, boink, I'm done. And you do the 5 and then you change. Okay, it also clearly marks out where the corners are, and normally they're highlighted, but I forgot to do this with this pattern. But as I said, this ain't one to be sold, because this write-up, if you was tempted to screenshot and have a go, is actually the wording for that picture there. So really, do you want a sample blanket that says sample? That's probably even spelt wrong. But anyway, getting back, it comes out, you've got all the sections there and all the rows until we finish. And then we have this last section here, which is how to add a border, or at least your first border row. Or in some cases, like with this one here, it actually has this how to do this section as well. Okay, and it's the same with Max. They'll have their border sections added in along with any videos if they were made. Okay, and then the last little bit is me saying I'd love to see your pictures, fire them over to me and with the information there, and then a section about repeating of the pattern. Now I say that you can sell your items that you make with the pattern, just don't flog my patterns, simples, and don't share them out either. So none of this copying, pasting and firing it over to Bestie. I am cheeky. Make Bestie sit by the side of you and to work along with you. Right, so as I said, that is the pattern. Oh my gosh, that's it. I've just naffed myself up straight away, haven't I? But as I said, that is how the written patterns are done. Now, from this point on, with winner only patterns, you will only be getting the chart. So that page, you'll only be getting that. And you'll only be getting, oh, where are we? The box pat, what was it? You're only getting this one. You get your box accounts and links to videos. Okay, so that's all you're going to be getting from this point on the winner only patterns. Okay, now remember, the winner only patterns can only be one. I can't flog them, but I can flog these ones. Right, so any that you see in the background, of course, I do have a written pattern now over on Ravelry as well. And also the ones that are in the opening titles, because as I said earlier on in the video, I'm not going to be hanging them up here anymore because it's damaging them. An extra bit is, of course, with patterns like this one where there is more fine detail, there is a video, photo tutorial in there as well, so that you have got a visual so that you can work out where stitches are meant to go. So there are a couple of adaptations between the patterns, but hopefully by me showing you the main blanket ones, you'll understand that I put in as much as I possibly can so that you don't message me later going, huh? How do I do it? How do I understand it? Because hopefully there'll be something within each of those patterns that makes each section easy for you to understand. But then, of course, if you do need help, just give me a message. Right, so now it's time for the best bit, and the best bit, of course, is your photos. Now, I got surprised this week. I got a photo I was not expecting. Of course, I am expecting a stitch a week. Constantly now, from now until the end of the year. As long as I carry on making them, the girls don't get bored of me. Right, so I actually got a photograph come through from our gorgeous, from our Kaz, the Aussie Yarnaholic. And now, when was it? Christmas time, she won a pattern and she got to choose one from the Ravelry shop, and she chose the cupcake blanket. So of course I know she's got not only the cupcake blanket, but she's got quite a few winner only patterns. So she fires me over a message saying, I'm working on one of your patterns. And I'm like, oh, what you working on? And the next day she fires me over a picture of half a square off of that blanket. And I'm like, ooh, we got a cupcake coming up. So then a couple of days later, or the next day I should say, she fired me off a photograph, which I'm just about to show you, which of course is her first completed cupcake square. So come on, let's have a look. Right, so she also gave us a gorgeous write-up, and she says she's loving it. It's nice to do a simple graph. She found it really relaxing. She used a Spotlight 4 Seasons Spot Super Saver in white, red, black, dark pink and pumpkin, and a 5mm hook. It measures about 38 centimetres. She's going to mix it up a little bit for the next square. Stay tuned. Love, Kaz. So thank you ever so much, darling, for your little write-up that I did actually put on the side of the photo. But I thought I'd read it out for those of the girls that are sitting here crocheting while they're listening along. It looks absolutely wicked, and yes, I now want to know, what have you done with the second square? Right, so and now it's time for Stitch a Week. Now this week I'm breaking it up a little bit. I'm explaining a little bit about who's done what and where and when. And the outfit and the hairstyle and everything will be changing throughout this section of the video, because it depends of course on when the photos do come through. So our very first photo up is from our Sabrina Melliger. Now she has done this gorgeous yarn here. She has used a Stylecraft Special DK. In the colourway Parchment. Now this is what on your screen will be the green square, but for some reason it's actually more of a pink than a green, but when the photograph was taken, and that is how it's come out. So I think it's the photo looks brilliant because it shows you the difference between weeks, 4 and week 5. But of course, as with Sabrina's stitch work, it is absolutely stunning as always. So here we go, let's have a look at her 2 blocks. One I showed you last week, mind. Now the next set of photos are from our cheeky Kath Eye Catchers. Now Kath said to me, I want to use my hand dyed, and I'm going, what? Really? For a sample blanket? She's going, yeah, I've got an idea and I am running with it. So she has chosen 2 of her own hand dyed yarns, and what she is now doing is she has started at week number 5 and is working her way backwards. Okay, so she's doing week 5 because I've said to her week 5 is the largest square and that is the size of the rest of the squares from this point on. And so what she's doing is she is making weeks 1 through to 4 all the same size as a week number 5. So then it means she doesn't have to muck around with borders and things because she is using her hand dyed yarn. So come on, let's go and have a look at these. They are stunning. Now, for all of those photos that our Kath sent us, I definitely have my favourite block. I was wondering, what's your favourite block? I know that she'd like to know as well. Okay, so and now it's time for everybody else's blocks. Let's see what yarns and colourways you chose to use this week. And yes, I'm using that awful music yet again. It was option number 4 from the video earlier on in the week. I did say I was going to use it, and I found my spot. Right, so we do in fact have our Timothy the Tiger up now. Okay, you saw him a little bit earlier in the video as well, but as I said, this week has been a bit of a mismatch of outfits and recording times and everything else. So as I said, this is our Timothy the Tiger. He's done in the corner to corner mini, well the mini I do anyway, which is a video number 4 in a stitch a week. Now as you can see, he is humongous. He measures 3 blocks across and 3 blocks down. It's the easiest way to do it really. On the written pattern, of course, there is proper details on his sizing anyway. So if you did choose to purchase the pattern, that is over on the Ravelry shop and it is priced up at £4.50. Okay, now there is not a tutorial for it on the channel because he is too big. Couldn't even fit a quarter of him on the table. But fingers crossed, the next video tutorial I do that's outside of the stitch a week, of course, will be something that will fit on my dining room table. Now the yarn I used for Timothy the Tiger was of course this gorgeous stuff here, my Signet Plateau Everyday DK. Oh no, I've gone and pulled out the red. But yeah, all of the colours are available over on the Secret Yarn Stash. Okay, now she sells them for £1.20 at the moment per ball. It's the cheapest I've found them online. So I've got a link in the description box down below. So if you're in the UK and you plan to make Timothy, I would suggest you go to her and grab your yarn from there, because it will save you an absolute fortune in the long run, because there are quite a few balls. There's 11 balls in total you are going to need to make him, in different colours mind. Right, so now it's time for my whip pile. I can't say completed because there isn't any this week. As I showed some of you over on the lives this week, I'd started making our Courtney at 5 Foxy Studios mosaic pattern number 40. Now, I was really lucky. I won some of her patterns and this was one of the ones that I chose. So to start off with, I've not really done mosaic before. I did attempt it about a year ago and I'd done about 4 or 5 rows. I completely lost my brain capacity to do it, threw it across the room and then picked it back up, tied it together, stuck it on my head, took a photograph and sent it to her stating, I've made a headband. And that was it. That was my attempt at it, and from that point on I'm sitting there going, no, it's just too scary. It's whatever excuse I could come out with for not doing mosaic I used. But I sat down the last week, I popped on the video and realised that when I'd first attempted one of Courtney's patterns I'd missed a crucial bit of information, which was the double crochets you drop down and the single crochets you work in the back loop. If you watch one of her videos you will understand she sets it out so easily, so much so that I've done that much so far. I've nearly completed the entire first repeat. Now I've got this folded in half, well in thirds, because I'm doing it 3 times over. So, but yeah, we know me and we know what my giggle's about, don't we? So what one did I just show you? Okay, so the one I should have shown you at the beginning is this one here. That is a square number. Oh no, that's the worst one. Right, okay, so we got the square number 1. Then I got a bit carried away and I've done square number 2. I've got a bit of a muck up, where is it? Up here somewhere. I didn't do the stitch that was needed, so I cheekily jumped down a bit later on and tried to cover it up. But this last section here with this whole chunk of white going across here is because I've completely missed all of them and done completely the wrong stitch. I'd worked back loops in my colour option B instead of working the double crochet down. I'd done a row of singles, but I've left that because hey, we all know what I'm like. And not only that, I'd undone this section about 4 times over just by undoing the knot and then pulling it back and then trying to work out what row I was on. So in the end, when I realised I'd mucked up yet again, I gave up and went, it's unique this way. So sorry Courtney, I did try honey, honestly I did try. Yeah, so this is my attempt at row number 1. Now I've got to try and make this match for the next row up, or the next set of pattern repeats. So you never know, there might be, oh where are we? There may be this dodgy stitch work on the repeat in the middle next row. You never know, it depends on if I can remember how I did it so I can repeat my same muck up. But as I said, that's my muck up. That has nothing to do with Courtney, nothing to do with her videos at all. That was just me mucking around, not properly concentrating on it, because I was chatting to my brain cell, my mate, my bestie. So I was chatting to her and not really paying attention to the video, and so that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it really. Right, the other thing I've been doing this week, last week I saw something that I wanted. It was that simple. I had the rest of my Christmas money from my mother and father-in-law and I gone and got myself an exercise bike. Help! But it's a cool exercise bike because it's got a table on it, which means I can stick my tablet on there and still watch everybody's videos. And I'm gonna hang my one of these. I'm gonna hang it over the handlebars and see whether it will still work, because fingers crossed that means then I can sit there while cycling and an attempt to crochet at the same time. Now I have been practicing, I have been talking to people sort of over Messenger and stuff whilst I've been cycling. So a certain somebody, I won't mention her name, keeps saying to me, do you want me to phone you so you can do some exercise? You are so cheeky, honey. Look in the comment section down below, gang. I'm sure she will admit who she is that's doing it. But yeah, so that's the plan of action, is to just sit and cycle and crochet. I may not be cycling, crocheting and talking though. That just might be a bit too much. Because we know what I'm like. I have to sit on my hands half the time when I'm chatting to you lot. Otherwise I forget what I'm going to say. So just as I was about to put this video all together and get the computer to squidge it all up so it was ready to upload, I got a really cool ping on my computer, and it was from our gorgeous Louise at the Secret Yarn Stash. Oh, sorry, that was her again. Just responding to a message. But basically she'd said, hello, there's a sale alert on Secret Yarn Stash. She needs more space for new product ranges, so she's having a clear out sale of quite a few lines. There's either going to be a 25% off or 15% off depending on the ranges. So I'm just going to pause this a second and pop over and have a look, and then I'll be able to tell you what ranges are on sale. Right, so the very first page, first item up, is the Signet Boho Spirit Solids yarn. This is now priced in at £2.51, whereas it's normally £2.95. Our next one down is the Signet Kiddies Kaleidoscope DK yarn. This is normally priced at £2.45. She is selling it for £1.84. I'm loving these prices. Show my amount of money. Right, we've got the Signet Pure Baby DK. This is normally priced in at £2.25. She has got it down to £1.69. The Signet Watercolours DK yarn. Now this stuff is gorgeous, but be warned, it's on limited supply now because they're no longer making it. So it is priced in at normally at £2.65. She's got it down to £1.99. £1.99. So if you see a colourway you like, make sure you grab enough for the project that you've got in mind, because you may not be able to get hold of it again, let alone at that price. But there we go. So on to our next page. The Signet Glittery DK yarn was normally priced at £1.85. She's got that down to £1.39. Then there is the Signet Kiddies Collection Double Knit. That one is normally at £2.70. She's got that down to £2.30 as well. Oh, she hasn't finished, you know. She hasn't finished. There's the Signet Pure Baby DK Prints, and that is priced normally at £2.55, but she's got it down to £2.17. The Signet Utopia Variegated DK yarn was a £3.10. It is now £2.33. The Hooked Spaghetti recycled t-shirt yarn, I can never say that for a second word, that is normally priced at £8.75. She's got it down to £6.56. The Signet Silk Caress DK, normally priced at £2.45, is £1.84. And the Signet Kiddies Super Soft DK yarn is normally priced at £1.77. She's got that down to £1.50. And our last page, there's even more. The Hooked Merino Eco, I'll write it on the screen here. It's a 200g ball. That is normally £5.45. She's got that up for £4.09. And then the Yarnar Eco Cotton XL is normally £2.99. She got that for £2.24. The Robin Paint Box, a DK variegated yarn, normally at £2.95. She's got that for £2.51. And that is it for the sales. But oh my gosh, there is loads there, girl. That is one cool saving. So of course, she's also said to me in my messages, she said that reward points are still applied to the sale items. So if you are an SYS VIP, you'll still be able to collect those points. And of course, if you use the affiliated link in the description box and down below as well. That will also mean that I get a couple of points that I'll be able to spend at a later time. So if you're in the UK and you need some more yarn, because of course we all do, head over there and have a nose through. The rest of her yarns are on there. The prices are cheaper than other big box stores as well. If they weren't, I wouldn't be shouting them out. Right, so that's all I've got for today. I'm heading back to have another play with Courtney's pattern, and fingers crossed I can get a bit more done to show you next week. Alright, as I said, I'm going to head off. I will see you all really soon, so if you can, please stay in and definitely stay safe. Ta-ra for now, everybody.